Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Full kind of update on Apollonia. And the last little thing that I kind of needed her to do to make sure she was alright was actually have a poop, and she did. It was a massive one. And yeah, so she's looking alright. She's a bit pale on top of her scales, like where her spine is and stuff. I don't know if you can see. But yeah, she's lost a little bit of colour, but I'm assuming like once I sort of feed her up a bit more and as the year goes on, she should sort of get some of that colour back. But yeah, there is a little bit of discoloration, but she seems to be alright. She was popping her head out of that new hide that I bought for her that was in the previous video. And it's almost like, because they've all got those hides, whenever they stick their heads out, it's almost like whack-a-mole, you know that game? Obviously I'm not going to, you know, be hitting my snakes on the head or anything, but I'm just saying, like, when they stick their heads out of that hole, that's just what it reminds me of. So but yeah, so she seems to be doing okay. There we go. I wanted to do a kind of top 6 questions that I've been asked since owning snakes. And I'm sure some of you have experienced these questions from people before about snakes or your reptiles. So yeah, I thought I would just do that today. At the minute I'm just waiting for my other phone to charge up so I can get the questions up on that phone, because obviously I'm using my iPhone to film this. But yeah, so I will be back with you in just a second. Okay, so the kind of one of the first questions, someone asked me this probably just a few years ago. They said, won't your snake choke you? And I'm thinking, no. I mean, if I had a bigger snake and it was clean on for dear life, then, you know, maybe, but no, it's not going to actually choke me or anything. So even with these corn snakes, they'll grip on, you know, when they're just trying to hold on and make sure that they feel secure, but they're not going to actually choke me. So the answer to that question is no. Okay, so the second one that someone's asked me is, do your snakes try to bite you? If they're viv defensive, the answer to that is if they're viv defensive, which a lot of snakes can be, then, you know, yeah, they will. They'll kind of tag you, and that, you know, it's like a warning strike, like, you know, get out of here sort of thing. But if that happens and you want to get a snake out, whether it's a corn snake or a ball python, whatever, just you have to show the snake kind of who's boss and that you're in charge sort of thing. Not that you have to be rough with them or anything, but you just have to carry on with what you're doing and get them out the tank. You know, don't get put off just because they've kind of done that warning strike. But for me personally, that's happened a couple of times. Apollonia has never actually done that to me yet, but a couple of the others have, but they've calmed down a lot as they've got older. Caduceus, he's mistakenly bitten me because I've had a mouse in the tongs and he was in blue, so he couldn't see what was going on. So he could smell the mouse, but he couldn't see very well, so he kind of grabbed my hand and bit into that, and he could still smell the mouse, and because my hand was moving he thought my hand was the mouse. So anyway, he eventually, once I let go of the mouse, he let go, and then I just put him and the mouse back in the tank, closed the door, and that was it. He did find the mouse and he did eat it. So yeah, that's good. So, but yeah, that's the only time I've ever really been bitten. It's generally been an accidental where they've smelt the mouse and mistaken my hand for a mouse. So yeah, that's it really. Okay, next one. Let's have a look. Okay. Oh yeah, this is a classic one, and this is what I got asked quite a lot when I very first got snakes, and there's people that don't really know much about snakes will still ask me this question, and it is, are snakes slimy? No, they're not slimy, not at all. They're smooth, and whoop, if you've ever felt a skin that they've shed, it's almost like paper. So there's like nothing slimy about them at all. If anything, you can just, they're smooth, you can feel their scales, and they're quite cool to the touch, really. I mean, it's nice this, I mean, I've got right sweat on at the minute, it is warm, and I'm really hot, and she's really cool, and so having her around my neck and crawling around me is so nice because she's cool, but then she's enjoying my heat as much as I'm enjoying her coolness. So yeah, she's I don't know where she's off to now, she's around the back of my neck. But yeah, so she's kind of enjoying my heat and just roaming around and, you know, just sort of being curious and one thing and another. So she's probably finding somewhere to hide because this ring light is quite bright. But anyway, yeah, so that's really the answer to that question. Okay, oh, this one is a classic question. Do any of your snakes show aggression? No, not really. I mean, unless they're just kind of a bit fed up for one thing, for one reason or another. They might sort of be like, yet again, you know, get out of my tank. They'll be very defensive and all that sort of thing. Corn snakes, they're quite docile. If anything, Australia's probably, when she was little, she was a bit aggressive. And to be fair, actually, Cadassis, who's a corn snake, he was aggressive yet again when he was little. I think it's just because they're small, they have to protect themselves. So they just kind of act very sort of defensive, and it goes back to the other questions about, you know, do snakes, or do my snakes bite me and all that sort of thing. But no, it's, you know, they're not aggressive snakes. There's the next question. Oh, okay, are you crazy? No, I'm not crazy. I mean, why is it crazy to have a snake? It's no different to having a cat or a dog. I mean, okay, they are different. They are different to cats and dogs, obviously, because they're reptiles, and they are completely different animals. But, you know, I just think, I don't know, it's funny really, because I think, well, who kind of thought of the idea to keep a dog as a pet, or to, you know, have a cat as a pet, or, I don't know, a bird, you know, a parrot or whatever. I mean, you can have any animal as a pet. Well, not any animal, but you can have a lot of animals as pets. But you just have to make sure that, you know, you keep them in the correct environment, or you create a comfortable enclosure for them, and most of all to make sure they're happy. And generally you'll know that your animals are happy when they're eating and pooping as they should, and in this one's case shedding her skin. So yeah. So yeah, no, I'm not crazy. I mean, maybe some people might describe me as crazy. I know that before I came up with my YouTube name of Ellie Snake Lady, I was going to call it Crazy Snake Lady, and I thought, well, I kind of want to lose the crazy, because it's not really, I don't want people to think that having reptiles and snakes and stuff is like a crazy person's hobby, because it's really not. It's just something that's a bit different, and I like being a bit different. But as for crazy, no. But yeah, with my YouTube name, I thought I just want it to be a little bit personal, so I put my name Ellie with the Snake Lady, and that was that. So yeah. Right, okay. And yeah, literally this woman, she was, well, basically she is my mum's Avon lady, and she came round, and I had Athene out with me, and she didn't notice Athene at first, and then all of a sudden she did. She noticed her moving around me and stuff, and she was like, why? Just why? That's literally that question that's written down there. Why? Just, and it's not just her that's asked me that. There's been a few people ask me that, but she's more recently, which was probably more last year. But she was like, you know, just why? And I think, well, why not? Yet again, if you can have a cat or a dog or a hamster or a parrot or whatever as a pet, why not have a snake? Or some other kind of reptile. And I mean, I love snakes because they're solitary animals, and I feel like I'm quite solitary. I like my time alone, and I'm generally a fairly quiet person, and that's just what these guys are like. So I feel like I can connect to snakes a bit more, because they are solitary, and they are sort of, these lot are generally quite docile and stuff, and Yeah, I don't know, I have like an affinity with snakes really. There's a bit of it I can't really explain. Yeah, it's my top 6 questions that people ask me, people that don't really you know much about reptiles and snakes. That's the sort of things that they ask me. And as I say, the answers I've given you today are the answers that I give to people that ask those questions. And you know, I don't go off on one. There's some people that get really angry when people ask them questions like that, but I just try and stay calm. And you know, I even say to people, would you like to meet some of my snakes and stuff like that? Some people are like no, other people are like, oh well, yeah, I'll just see. And they kind of tentatively sort of stroke them and stuff, and they're like, oh, they are smooth, aren't they? They're not slimy. And at the end of the day, I created this channel to educate people about snakes and, you know, show everyone that they're not evil and bad. And I think unfortunately that reputation with snakes has just come about because of Christian views, the whole snake in the Garden of Eden, blah blah blah. And in my mind, you know, if God created everything, he created snakes, so they can't be all that bad, you know. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. But if you've got this far into my video, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to like and subscribe, please do so. And if you've any questions, please pop them in the comments section below and I'll do my best to answer them. But for now, for myself and a little squiggly Apollonia who's dying to get back in her tank, it is goodbye, and I'll see you in my next video. Oh my gosh, where's she gone? There she is. My moustache is sweating. It's not a good look. Come on, little girl. There you go, look. Say bye, everyone. There we go. See you next time, guys.